Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and here is every single minifigure that comes in the Summer 2022 LEGO Ninjago sets. You can see there's a total of 48 minifigures here, 44 if you don't count the ones in the 4+ set, 32 of which are unique, and 22 of which are exclusive, meaning they only come in one set. There's a huge variety of different ninja suits this wave, as well as tons of different villains, and it's one of the craziest and coolest LEGO Ninjago minifigure selections we've gotten in a while. So let's go through and review every single one of them. Before I get started, I also do want to mention that these minifigures were sent to me early by the LEGO group through the LEGO Master Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. These minifigures obviously come from the Summer 2022 Ninjago sets, and I have reviews of all those up on the channel right now. So if you're interested in seeing full reviews of the sets, I'll put a card in the top right corner. But for now, let's take a look at these minifigures. So to start off, we'll take a look at the two normal versions of Cole. We just have what's pretty much his normal suit for this wave. I don't think we have like an official name for this suit yet, so I'm just going to refer to it as his Crystallize suit, as well as his golden suit for this wave. As well as his golden suit from this wave. The Crystallized Cole suit's actually really nice, and it's probably one of my favorite Cole suits we've gotten in recent times. I think the colors here all just mesh together so well. The normal suits this wave are all very similar, like all the ninja match pretty perfectly. However, the colors on Cole just really pop. I love the orange on the headband, which he has used before, but I really like how that carries into the body, like with these little bits of orange on the torso, and then on the belt as well. And then like the gray shoulder pads that continue into the arm, and that's super cool. He of course uses the Season 11 armor piece in gunmetal gray. And then you can see the golden suit's supposed to be like a more armored and upgraded version of this suit. The letter C for Cole on his forehead's replaced by the letter R for resistance. And once again, this one looks amazing. One of my favorite golden suits. I really love how the gold armor reflects in the light, and I think especially the way it transitions from the torso into the legs is super nice. And again, that orange works with the gold really nicely. The actual ninja suit underneath maybe looks a little bit out of place, but obviously it makes sense why that's there. It's to match with this suit, and it is just a regular ninja suit. So honestly, I think these are both really solid. And especially the leg print on this guy I think is especially fantastic. Taking their masks and armor off, you can see these guys both use the same face Cole's had since the movie. And there's both of their alternate faces and back torso prints. Back torso print on regular Cole is pretty good, not as good as the front torso print. I think the top bit up here looks kind of weird. I get they're going for like that armor continuing around the back, but to me that sort of more looks like a puffy jacket, and that doesn't really fit as well. But obviously most of the time that's covered up by the armor, so I don't really mind that. But then on Golden Cole, like, no, that looks fantastic. Again, love all the gold printing, love how it shines in the light. You can see the C for Cole symbol right there is present on the back, because that wasn't on the hood on this suit. But yeah, the armor looks really good, and honestly, you could probably flip this torso around and make a pretty cool, like, looking front torso print. Yeah, I really like this one. As a whole, good start. Both very good Cole suits. And Cole suits tend to be a little bit iffy. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. A lot of times they don't really know what to do with his colors. But no, both of these really well done. Next, moving to Crystallized J and Golden J. The Crystallized J suit, obviously very similar to Cole's. Not as many colors going on, and I do feel like the dark blue sort of blends in with the normal blue a little bit. The brown down here is a nice touch, maybe feels a little bit out of place. But that brown is a bit of consistency between all of the regular ninja suits this wave. But yeah, I kind of wish he had more colors here to pop, maybe like a bright yellow like his core suit had. However, one thing I do really like about this guy is the dark blue hood. That's something that sets him apart from other previous J suits we've gotten. It's dark blue base with a blue headband. And I actually think that looks really nice and is a fun difference to have. And of course, they both got those same armor pieces that Cole had. And then Golden J is also pretty cool. It's probably my least favorite or my second least favorite of the golden suits this wave. However, it's still pretty solid. The gold on top of the blue does look nice and it adds that splash of color that I was hoping for in the original. However, it does just run into that same issue where I feel like the dark blue is maybe a little bit too dark and blends in too much. But something cool here that I didn't really point out on Cole, but Cole also had. I like the little darker gold dots that are almost sort of orange. Those really add like a nice bit of texture to the design. It makes the entire line feel a lot more elegant. There they are with their mask and armor removed, again, same faces they've had since the movie. And then here they are turned around, where you can see their back torso prints and alternate faces. Again, with Jason complaining I had about Cole's, I don't really think that armor at the top looks that great, but I do like how he has that J symbol right there. But then the back of the golden suit actually looks fantastic. I love how that all comes together with the armor. And then he does have that golden symbol of the letter J again. Yeah, J's definitely not got my favorite suits this wave, but these are both still pretty solid, and I'm still quite happy with both of them. They're just not the best J suits of all time. Next, moving to Zayn, we have two of my favorite figures of this wave. Zayn is my favorite ninja, so I might be a little bit biased, but these are both really good. I think the colors on Crystallized Zayn all go together really nicely. I especially like the blue headband. This was first used on Zayn's core suit, but it fits him really well and like actually adds that icy feel. But he still uses the gray that he had in like his Season 11 robes, but it's a lot more subtle here and I think it really works. Additionally, you can see there's a little bit of silver on his torso. That was on Cole and J as well. However, I feel like it fits Zayn super well especially. And then the blue belt and everything, like the knee pads, it all just comes together to look really nice. this looks like an ice ninja. That's immediately clear just from the design. So this is easily one of my favorites. And then Golden Zayn is very similar to Golden Jay. The layout of his armor is like almost identical, just mirrored. However, I feel like it works a lot better here. For one, the gold pops a lot more on top of the white as opposed to on top of the blue. Additionally, you can see a bit of Zayn's hearts exposed, and there's some silver printing underneath there, and I think that really adds to the look of this suit. And then again, with colors popping, the bright blue of Zayn's belt looks a lot better than the dark blue of Jay's belt, so it all just comes together and makes something that looks really, really beautiful. Then taking the hoods and armor off, you can see they have the same face front they've had since Sons of Garmadon, and turning them around once again, same plan to have the other two. On Crystallized Zayn, I don't really like how the back of that armor looks, but the blue in the center is actually a nice color choice. I do actually really like that. But then on the golden suit, that armor looks fantastic. Maybe actually not as good as the back of Golden Jay, but the front of the torso is what matters the most. And the front of this guy, as you heard, is just so well done. So yep, two of my favorites, both really fantastic. Now coming to Kai. Crystallize Kai I can't help but feel is a little bit underwhelming. He's not bad by any means, and he might be better than Jay, but this doesn't feel that different from his Season 11 design. I kind of wish they tried something a little bit more with him. At least with Jay, like they swapped his hood colors around. But now this one just feels pretty standard, which is okay. It's not bad by any means, and I actually really like the brown and how that integrates with the dark red and normal red. I think that all ties together really nicely. But yeah, comparing this guy to other Kai suits we've gotten in the past, it just seems like it fits right in. It doesn't feel like anything all too special. Not a bad thing, just makes me not that interested. But the silver actually does look pretty nice here. That's a nice touch. And then Golden Kai I actually quite like. I forget what I said in my reviews about this guy, but I go back and forth like how much I like him. Sometimes I look at him and I'm like, that design's not that great. But honestly, I'm looking at him right now, and I do actually quite like how he looks. The golden armor looks really nice, and I like how it's all at the top of his chest. It sort of reminds me of his 2012 design, except in that suit it was dark red instead of gold. And just like Jay's got the issue where his belt sort of blends into his legs, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it does all still look pretty nice. Taking their mask and armor off, you can see the same face they've had since the movie, and then turning them around, looking at their back torso prints and back face prints. Again, same thing with the back torso on Crystallized Kai. I also think the white on the symbol in the middle is a little odd. Not sure if that's the best color for Kai. Maybe like an orange or something would have been better. But then Golden Kai is pretty solid. This reminds me a lot of like the Golden Monkey Kid suit from earlier this year, and this armor actually works really well with Kai's Mask of the Mountain suit, almost better than his actual Mask of the Mountain suit. So yeah, these guys are both solid. Probably as a combo my least favorite of these ninja suits, but still definitely not bad. Now, before we move on from the original 4 Ninja, of course we have to take a look at their Golden Dragon suits. These suits are crazy. They're unlike anything we've ever gotten in Ninjago before, but wow, are they just amazing. They're covered in transparent pieces, and they've got these big golden wings in the back, and the golden wings are dual molded with whatever their color is. In the case of Cole and Jay here, we have trans orange on Cole and trans yellow on Jay. These are some of the most beautiful Ninjago figures we've ever gotten, and I'd argue even some of the most beautiful LEGO figures we've ever gotten. Just all the transparent parts and the wings and everything just look so cool. You can also see they've got like these dragon hood pieces that go over top of their transparent heads, and if we turn them to the sides you can see that's gold dual molded with whatever their color is. And then if we take a look at them from the back, you can see my one and only issue with these guys, and that is these blue Technic pins that stick out the back. They feel really out of place and don't really look that great. I really wish LEGO would recolor those, but LEGO never recolors those. However, it's not a huge deal when you consider how great the rest of these figures look, and you don't really see them from the front, so I don't mind too much. Just definitely would have been nice, because yeah, that doesn't look good. Taking the wings off though, so you can see the figures up a little bit closer, you can see just how nice these guys look. All those transparent parts really look incredible. I especially love on Cole how with the black torso and the black printing on the legs, it transitions super nicely from that torso to the legs. It just feels natural. You don't see like the borders and the parts really. With Jay with the lightning blast coming down, it's a little more obvious. However, I still think it looks really nice. And then you can see both these guys have tons of metallic printing on their torso. You can also see they have their regular symbols right here, the C for Cole and the J for Jay. I think trans orange was the perfect color choice for Cole. Trans black definitely would have looked cool, but this allows the printing to really be vibrant, and it's kind of like a callback to his Day of the Departed like Earth Blast arms that he got. Well, the J, trans yellow was good, don't get me wrong, it's much better than the trans lime green they've used for him in the past. However, I definitely think trans blue would have fit him way better here, because the blue in the center of his torso does feel a little bit out of place with everything else, but it does still overall look very good. Here's a close look at those mask pieces, turning them all the way around. And then taking those off, here's their face prints underneath. Cole's is all new for this wave. You can see he's got this angry expression with these rocky eyebrows. I think that's a super cool look. And then Jay's just got this lightning bursting from the center of his face, and obviously they're both on transparent heads. Jay's is not new, that came on his core spinner, but it is cool to see that come to another set. And I suspect it was originally designed for this figure, but then it was released a little bit early on the core spinner. But regardless, it was a great face print on that figure, and it's a great face print on this figure. And then turning these guys around so you can see their back torso prints. Both of these are fantastic. I especially like Cole's, how it's sort of like a crater that creates the C symbol. Well, Jay's got the letter J in the center with all this lightning bursting out of it. Jay's is cool because that does have metallic printing on it, Cole's does not, but both of them fit their element really well. And I said this in my reviews, but I think these are the best Elemental Burst figures we've ever gotten. We've gotten stuff like Energy, Air Jitsu, Forbidden Spinjitzu, Spinjitzu Burst. But that like fully engrossed in their element look that they're going for, I think these figures capture it the best. And I'm just so happy they exist. But of course, we're not done with the Golden Dragon figures, we also have Kai and Zayn, and in my opinion, I think these two are the best looking ones. Jay's definitely the weakest, just because the blue to the yellow is not the best. It still looks really fantastic though, but Cole and Kai are about equal level in my opinion. I think I slightly prefer Kai just because the trans red has a really cool look to it, but then Zayn is definitely my favorite. Of course, I might be a little bit biased because again, Zayn is my favorite ninja, but I think the Translate Blue really captures that icy look, and I like the little shards and everything coming down. But you'll see that more when I take the wings up so you can see his torso in more detail. The wings here, again, obviously are dual molded in gold and whatever their transparent color is. And I didn't really mention this before with the other ones, but the armor piece that the wings connect to is new for this wave, and it's sort of similar to the armor that the Shintarans wear, so I'm curious if in the show that's where they're going to get these from. But regardless of if they do or not, it is a really cool looking armor piece. And I like how it doesn't obstruct that much of the torso either, like you can still see their full torso design. And of course, they both still have the same issue with the blue pins in the back. Definitely a really bad issue on Kai, especially like when you turn him back like that. Yeah, that's not great. But it's not as big of a deal in Zayn, because Zayn does use blue. But yeah, it still would be better if they could recolor them. But now with the wings removed, you can see the torso prints up a little bit closer. And you can see, just like Jay and Cole, Kai's got the letter K symbol for Kai, and Zayn's got the letter Z for Zayn. Again, I really like this golden armor design. I like how Kai sort of has fire bursting out of it, while Zayn's got little tiny ice shards. And then outside of the golden armor, there is actual fire bursting out of Kai. And then it just looks like Zayn's body's made up of cracked ice. And I really love that transition from the solid white into the trans blue. It looks super natural. And again, it makes it feel like actual ice. Because like with the other elements, right, something like fire, while it's cool to see trans red, it wouldn't make sense for fire to form a perfect leg. But I could see legs and arms made out of pure ice like this, and I really think the Zayn suit captures that look perfectly. And that's why I love it so much. Turn them to the side, you can see those dragon hoods. I mentioned this in my reviews, but I'm mixed on these. A part of me thinks like, wow, those are really cool. And another part of me is like, these would be even cooler if they were just completely transparent, if they didn't have any gold at all. I'm looking at these and I think these are definitely the best looking dragon hoods. The trans blue and the trans red actually fit with the gold pretty well. I actually didn't love how the trans blue looked in my first review, but now I'm looking at it again, it looks a little bit better. Maybe the lighting is a bit different. I'm not sure, but yeah, that actually looks pretty nice. But yeah, let me spin those fully around before I take them off. And then with the hoods removed, you can see their full face prints. Once again, just like Jay, Kai's is reused from his core spinner. However, it is a very good face. He's just got a face full of fire, and you can see he's got a scar and a huge smile. And then Zayn has an all-new face for this wave, where he's got ice shards bursting out from his eyes. You can see his robotic design is still there. And I think that fits Zayn really well. Then I can turn these guys around and see their back torso prints. Kai's is simple yet effective. He's just got that K symbol right there etched in fire. But Zayn's, wow, that looks so fantastic. It just looks like cracked ice, but you can see the letter Z is in there. And there's some very subtle printing, like there's a very light blue there. And that just really adds to the quality of this figure. This is so well done. Yeah, two more very fantastic minifigures, and I'd argue Zayn is one of the best figures of this year, if not the best. Kai, I really like how the trans red is almost subtle. You don't really notice it unless you look closely. And Zayn, I just love how much it actually looks like ice. But this entire suit line is just fantastic. Some of the best minifigures ever. Next, we have two versions of Lloyd. We just have his regular Crystallize suit, and then we have Golden Oni Lloyd. Strangely, unlike the other normal Crystallize ninja, Lloyd has a golden shoulder pad rather than a gunmetal gray one. Not sure why they chose to do that. Obviously very easy to swap out if you want. I believe he does have a gunmetal gray shoulder pad in the show, but it's strange that they included a gold one here. I'm not sure why. But yeah, this suit is fairly similar to the others. It looks like more of the brown is used here than on the other ones, and I do think that actually looks a lot nicer. It adds just a nice splash of color to this because it would be very green otherwise. But other than that, it is on more of the generic side for Lloyd, similar to other suits he's gotten in the past. And then Golden Oni Lloyd is a crazy minifigure. Just wow, look at this thing. So it's Lloyd turned into his Oni form. I can't wait to see like what the context of this is in the show, but just as a minifigure, he looks super cool. He uses the Oni mask piece from 2018 on an all-new helmet, but this time it's molded in gold with his all-new face print. And I like how he's got like the Oni fangs and everything, but he's got his bright green eyes. And I like the gold printing on top of the gold mask just to add some extra texture. That torso print too, I like the green dragon scales underneath to show that he's not completely Oni, he's half Oni, half dragon. And then there's gold printing on top of the gold torso just to add an extra little bit of shine and add just more texture to the suit overall. Just such a fantastic minifigure design, yeah. I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of like how armored it looks. I think I would have preferred a more organic or robe-like golden suit. However, considering the fact that the rest of the ninja are armored, I get why it's like this. And it does look nice, it's just a very different look for Lloyd. That Oni mask, by the way, unlike on the biker helmets, it can't be flipped up, but if you remove it, you can take it off to see the new samurai helmet. And there's how that piece looks. You can see it is just the standard Lloyd face underneath. That's a little bit disappointing to see, but you could very easily swap that out for the golden legacy face. And yeah, here's a 360 view of that samurai helmet. And then removing mask and arm and everything, you can see the face on normal Lloyd's the same as the face on Golden Lloyd, same face he's had since the movie. And then turning these two around, you can see their alternate faces as well as their back torso prints. Back torso print and regular Crystallized Lloyd, pretty much the same as the other ones. That top bit actually reminds me a lot of casual Harumi. But then the back torso print on Golden Oni Lloyd is super incredible. I love how it looks like the spikes on the back of a dragon. And yeah, the armor just continues back here. I actually think that looks super nice. I think I might prefer that to the front. But yeah, once again, just like pretty much every other figure this wave, Golden Oni Lloyd is really, really fantastic. And regular Lloyd is good, actually pretty nice. Nothing all too new or exceptional, but pretty well done. Now moving to Nia, she only has one suit this wave aside from the 4+ set. This is Nia in her Samurai X outfit. And this is an all-new take on Samurai X, but honestly I quite like it. The new horn piece is super cool. The Mr. E armor, I'm not sure how I feel about that for Samurai X. I feel like there's better armors that we've gotten in the past, but it works well enough. But then the balloon and torso and everything is a really cool recolor. It reminds me a lot of her Hands of Time suit, especially with like that dark red belt at the bottom there. But yeah, once again, lots more of that golden armor that reflects in the light. And if I remove the helmet, you can see her face print's the same standard one she's been getting since the movie. Nothing all too special going on there. And then if we turn her around, there you can see her alternate face, the back of the armor, as well as her back torso print. Yeah, I mean, compared to some of the other figures we've gotten this way, this one's not as good, but it is still a really great all-new version of Nia, and it's nice to get a Samurai X suit that's so different from the others. So yeah, it's one I'm happy to have, just not one I'm super passionate about. And it is good to see that Nia comes in at least one set this wave. Now moving on to the Ninja's allies, we have Wu and we have a Garmadon. Wu this time around is wearing the dragon armor from Hunted, which is super cool to see that that's back. And you can see on his back he's got a banner attached which has the letter R for resistance. Or at least that's what I assume it means. We haven't seen that in the show yet, but that's the conclusion I came to. But yeah, the dragon armor is a super cool part. It was great in Hunted, and I'm really happy to see it's back. If you haven't seen it before, here's a 360-degree look at it. But if we take that off, you can see what Wu looks like without it. And that torso and legs, that's one of the best Wu suits we've ever gotten. I feel like I'm saying the word golden a lot in this video, but yeah, you can see once again, just like the ninja, he's got tons of this golden armor all up his torso, but it's like underneath his like regular sensei robes, and that gives just such a cool look. I also appreciate these golden like glyphs running up the sides of his robe. Those look super nice. And yeah, he matches all the other ninja suits really well, but also just makes her a fantastic looking Wu figure. It's so cool to see like a battle-ready Wu, right? I feel like we don't see that too often. The only other time I could think of that we got that was Master of the Mountain. But yeah, it looks super nice here. There he is with his hat removed as well. And here is his back torso print as well as back head print where you can see he's got his ponytail. While we're here, we'll take a look at Garmadon's back torso print too. And you can see both of them actually match each other. They're just sort of inverses. Both have that same symbol on their back. But Garmadon has a purple belt while Wu has a gray belt. Now taking a look at Garmadon again from the front, this is actually Oni Garmadon, similar to Oni Lloyd, which we just looked at. And he's got that same Oni mask helmet combo, but this time around the Oni mask itself is in black, while the helmet is in gunmetal gray. This new Oni mask design for Garmadon is super cool. I especially love the silver printing on it. That looks amazing. And this looks a lot better than the design of Oni Garmadon we had in March of the Oni. This actually feels ominous and scary. That version was just a little bit, silly. The torso is very similar to Garmadon's, like, resurrected design, though obviously you can see Garmadon has 2 arms here, not 4. Where do those extra 2 arms go? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But you can see he's wearing robes just like Wu, and where Wu has gold, Garmadon actually has silver. And even down to like the knee pads and everything, yeah, I love that like consistency between the two of them. It's so cool how both of them match. Just like Lloyd, the Oni mask at the front can be removed, but it can't be flipped up. And unfortunately, the face print underneath is just Legacy Garmadon, which is a really great face print. Just would have been cool to get a new one here. But yeah, that is still a really good face. It fits Garmadon pretty much perfectly. And there's no alternate face, and you guys already saw the back of the torso. Next, we have Skyler and Lil Nelson. This is a fairly good Skyler minifigure. I don't feel like it's the best one we've ever gotten, but you can see she's got that resistance logo on her chest again, and it almost feels sort of like post-apocalyptic, where she's like carrying a lot, right? It reminds me a lot of her suit from Hunted. But the dark red arms are cool, and the ZX armor is nice to see. Face print here is new, which is nice. However, I feel like this is not the best Skyler face I've ever gotten. Still cool to get a new one, though. I always prefer a new face over a reused one. And then no leg print, which is actually kind of disappointing, because I think she's the only figure this entire wave that doesn't have leg printing. Obviously, Nelson doesn't either, but short legs never get leg printing. But yeah, Skyler not getting any here kind of makes her feel out of place with everything else. So I'm not sure why they didn't give her that. But she has gotten leg printing in the past, so maybe we could swap it out for one of those. Nelson, though, is a surprisingly amazing minifigure. I wouldn't expect a Lil Nelson minifigure to be, like, one of my favorites, but no, this guy's super good. The color combination of, like, the cyan and the purple really stands out, like, really pops. The cyan was, like, a super nice addition to him, because in the past he's just worn purple. But no, that looks great. He reuses this, like, hat hood piece from Hidden Side, though, obviously in new colors. And you can see the logo on his hat actually has that Resistance logo, but instead of just being an R, it's actually got little eyes, which makes it almost look like Sensei Wu with a beard. And then turning him around the back, you can see he's got the Deadpool katana holder piece in black. So he can hold 2 blue katanas if you want, or I guess any other color. He just comes with 2 blue ones in the set. Here they both are with their armor and headgear removed. Now you have a better look at Nelson's torso print. He's got sort of like a vest on with like the silver zipper, and it is just sort of like casual clothes, but it's a really nice design. And his face print too, with like that printed ninja mask. That's a very cool look. And then alternate faces and back torso prints. Skylar's alternate face is significantly better than the front of her face. You can see she's got these white face markings, sort of similar to Island Lloyd, and you can see like all of her armor and everything continues on her back. And then Nelson has this really bright smile for his alternate face. That's a super good face print. And his back torso print is just more of that vest. However, it's got that Sensei Wu Resistance logo in the center. Yeah, it's always awesome to get side characters in sets, so I'm really happy to see these guys were included, and it's both pretty good versions of them. I'm a bit disappointed by some aspects of Skyler, but overall she's more good than bad, and I'll take a Skyler figure even if it's not the best one we've ever gotten. Now moving on to the bad guys, here are the first two. We have 2 different versions of the Crystal King, and these 2 are mostly the same with a few key differences. For one, obviously, this one has 4 arms while this one has 2 arms, but then the shorter Crystal King has different sized horns, and in place of like the 4-arm upper torso piece, he has this new Crystallized gunmetal gray armor. Starting with the heads though, they both have this all new mask piece, which is sort of similar to the Oni masks. It connects onto that new samurai helmet piece the same way. It's gunmetal gray just like the one on Garmadon. However, unlike the Oni mask, these can actually flip up. The mask itself is sort of like dragon or lion-like, very interesting design, and it's got like all this gold all over it with like crowns. He definitely fits the whole Crystal King name. And then if we flip the masks up, potential spoilers for the show, but I'm sure everybody knows at this point, the face underneath is very similar to the Overlord. Now, is it the Overlord? I can't say for sure, but it sure does look like him, doesn't it? With the mask and everything removed though, now you can see the full upper torso print, and you can see right there, what symbol is that? Oh, that's the Overlord symbol, so, interesting that's like that. But he's also got these big purple eyes right there, and then this golden armor going down his torso. I love the gunmetal combined with the gold, and then like the little touches of purple and magenta. It's just such a cool and ominous color combination, and it makes this figure feel very special because there's just so many different like metallic things used. Metallic parts, metallic printing. Just looks super amazing. And then the lower torso piece and legs are exactly the same as on the short Crystal King, so I'll just take a look at the shorter one here. He's got the same face print and everything, of course, but taking a look at that torso, you can see he's got this like golden ribcage design, very similar to the 2014 Overlord, once again with that symbol in the middle, and I just love like the way this armor plating looks, how well the torso transitions into the legs. It feels so natural. It really feels like they went all out with these minifigures, and I'm so glad they did, because it was worth it. These 2 both look amazing. And then yeah, you can see that crystal armor piece in gunmetal gray, that only comes on this figure. It comes in trans pink and a few other figures that we will see in a moment. However, in gunmetal, it's only on this guy. And it looks significantly different in gunmetal than it does in trans pink. But it's a good part in either color. And then turning these guys around, you can see the back head print's got this sort of like wispy symbol on it. Very interesting that that's there. It's printed in like silver, so it's quite subtle. It's not like super easy to notice, but it's definitely there. Very interesting looking. And then the back torso print again has the golden ribcage that continues onto the back. LEGO went all out in this villain design, and I'm here for it. He looks super great in both versions. The foreign version is definitely better, but this guy does still look pretty good, and he's got his own unique things too that make him different from the other guy. Now moving to the Crystal Generals, we have Pythor and we have Mr. F. Not Mr. E, Mr. F. He is the upgraded model. On Pythor's head here, you have a very similar design to his previous iterations, though this time around his eyes are magenta instead of red, and the gem on the top of his forehead is now also magenta, rather than the blue that it was before. They both have that same crystalline armor piece that the smaller Crystal King had, though here it is in trans pink like I mentioned. There's studs at the back where you can attach something if you want, and they both do share the same torso piece, so I won't be taking Pythor's head off, because everything you see on Mr. E is the same on Pythor. But they do have different legs, obviously, because Pythor has this big long snake tail, and I love the way that like silver armor transitions from the torso into the tail. That's a really well designed print. But then on Mr. F, it does a really good job of like matching the Crystal King's aesthetic. The way the torso transfers from the torso to the legs is really nice. And I love the abundance of purple used in the torso too. There's not as much of that on the actual Crystal King. He has more gold and magenta, but no, all the generals use a lot of purple, with a little bit of magenta with the Overlord symbol in the center, of course, and on the crystals of their armor. But yeah, you can see there's so many like tiny, intricate little lines. It's just super detailed. Mr. F uses the same new samurai helmet piece that a few other figures have used, though this time around it has a biker visor attached to it. Not sure how I feel about that. I feel like an actual biker helmet would have looked a little bit nicer. It is still cool to get, and his face print is technically new. Very similar to his previous iteration, just the red has been replaced by magenta, but all around mostly the same. And then turning him around so you can take a look at his back torso print. There you can see he's got a very samurai-esque armor design to him. And as I mentioned, not taking apart Pythor because the torso is the same on both of them. Yeah, I really like the design of the Vengestone Generals, and these were both super cool characters to bring back. Then the next two Vengestone Generals are Asphere and the Skull Sorcerer. These guys both use the same torso that the other two generals used, and the Skull Sorcerer uses the same legs as Mr. F, so I'm not going to go through all those again. But the unique parts of these guys, Asphira's new head is really great, obviously same mold that she used before, but this time around it's dual molded in gunmetal gray and trans pink, and that's just such a cool and ominous look for her. Definitely has a much different vibe from the original, like, what, gold and trans orange. And then the Ghost Tail, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of. The purple black just doesn't really feel like it fits with the color scheme. I really wish that if they were intending on sticking with the Ghost Tail piece for Asphira, I feel like trans pink would have worked a lot better, because this was a piece from Monkey Kid last year that they just reused. However, the optimal solution would have been to give her a full snake tail just like Pythor has, because the Ghost Tail just doesn't really fit her, and it really never has. So I'm not sure why they stuck with it for this wave. And this Skull Sorcerer you can see actually uses the studs on the back to attach his wings to, but not much of him is actually new. That mask piece is the same that came in Master of the Mountain. The only new and exclusive part of him is completely hidden, and that's actually under his mask. His face print is all new for this wave. Very similar to the King Vangelis face we got in the past. The only difference is now this time around the lime green has been replaced by magenta to fit the same vibe that the rest of the generals have. It is a great face print though, it's just a shame it's covered up all the time. And I do kind of wish we got a normal Vangelis face instead of this face again. I do really love the torso and leg design and everything, and just don't feel like it's worth to talk about it actually 6 times, because you're going to see there's 2 more of them. Because here are the last 2 named villains. We had the final general, the mechanic, and then we just have Harumi. These guys once again share the same torso and legs that the other generals have, and the mechanic has the same armor that the other 4 have. The only new thing about this guy is his face print, which is quite similar to the one that came in the Ninjago City Gardens, but this time around obviously a lot more magenta has been added. His normal eye has been turned into a magenta eye, and his robot eye has gone from blue to magenta. And then Harumi, I love all the personality in this figure, much more emotion than we've gotten on previous Harumi figures, but she's got this big wide smile and of course magenta eyes. And her hairpiece this time around is actually a hard plastic. Previous iterations of Harumi have used rubber for her hair, but I guess they changed that this year. There was a Monkey Kid set this year who also had that hairpiece in hard plastic, and I think that's a good decision. I've never been a huge fan of rubber pieces, so I feel like that just makes this figure feel a lot higher quality. But with that removed, you can see the face print a little bit better, and there's her alternate face. Again, very expressive. This time around, she's angry, and again, much more emotive than her original angry face. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a shame all 6 of these figures are so similar to each other, but I really don't mind the consistency, because they all do still have unique, exclusive parts to them, and it does really make them feel like they're part of the same team. And then finally, for the Crystallize wave, we have the 3 different members of the Vengestone army, the Vengestone Warrior, the Vengestone Brute, and the Vengestone Guard. These guys are all very similar with a few key distinct differences. However, these are all incredible minifigures. I'm amazed we have generic villains that look this good, but no, the designs on these guys are really fantastic. They use so much of this trans pink, both in the dual molding on their heads as well as in their arms and on their legs. You can see the only differences are the Warrior and Brute have different torso prints, while the Brute and Guard are exactly the same, and the Guard just has that armor that the generals have. But yeah, I love the new headpieces on these guys with these sort of like dragon or wolf-like faces, and then we've got these huge crystals just spiking out the back, as well as like in their teeth and everything. And then the trans pink arms look really cool on the one trans pink leg, and then you can see there's also yellow running up their body to represent like what actual Vengestone looks like. And taking a closer look at their torsos, you can see the Warrior just has like one side of his body completely engulfed by crystal, while on the Brute it's more of like an armored crystal chest piece that continues into his arms. And that's exemplified by the Guard, who has the crystal bursting out of his shoulders as well with that armor piece. Turning these guys around, you can see their back torso prints, but there's a lot of the silver printing, which looks super nice. You can see the crystals like really bursting out of their body, right? It's not like put there intentionally. It's sort of rugged and disjointed, and I think that really helps add to their overall look. Yeah, these 3 are all fantastic minifigures. Of course, I'm not showing you the Guard with the armor off because that's exactly the same as the Brute. But yeah, this is one of the coolest like generic armies to collect. And I'm so happy they're just so well done. Like, literally every piece on these guys, except for the hands, is either metallic or transparent. That's unprecedented, especially for a generic villain. Also, I saw a few people in my comments and reviews asking, like, oh, what's the headpiece underneath them? There is none. It's a molded head. You can see that's what it looks like from the underneath. So for anyone curious, yeah, there you go. But yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say on these guys. I just think they're incredibly well done. You get a total of 12 of them this wave. I think it shakes out to 6, 4, 2. But yeah, 12 is a lot to get for just like a generic villain. And I'm really glad we do get so many of these guys because they are super well designed. Now, before moving on to my overall thoughts, there's 4 more minifigures I have to get through, which I will go through really quickly, because they are just the core figures which I covered before in my core reviews, but they do come in the 4+ set this wave, so I should cover them here. Core Kai is really great. The left side of his torso is maybe a little bit boring, but I really love the bright orange used. And I'm not sure what that color is called, but that like orangish brown on his legs is a really cool color for Kai. And the transition from the torso to the legs is really nice. Nia, I think, is pretty great. I really love all the metallic printing on her torso with the blue and the silver. The gray legs are a little bit lame considering her upper torso is gunmetal gray. Kind of wish they kept the gunmetal gray all throughout. And the one blue arm is just weird to me. I'm not sure why that's there, but it looks really out of place. I feel like that hand definitely should be a different color, or it should just be a gunmetal gray arm. And there's the look of these guys with their hoods removed, and there's their back torso prints as well as their alternate faces. Back torso prints both have that ninja symbol on them, and you can see both of them have their elements sort of swirling around the symbol. And then we have two mango whippers, which I feel like I've reviewed a million times on this channel. But the orange and gunmetal gray is a really cool color combination. Probably my least favorite of the whippers, but still really nice. And I like how they sort of have a rusty look to them with like the teal printing on their torso. And a little bit some metallic printing too, that's really nice. And then turning them around, you get to the Brad Coaster print where they just got like these orange scales. A little bit some metallic printing there too, which is really cool. Yeah, again, for generic villains, these guys are pretty good. Obviously not as good as the Vengeance Warriors, but for funny snakes, they are very funny. And you do get them in many, many sets. So, there you go. There is every single minifigure that comes in these Summer 2022 Ninjago sets. Let me know what you guys think of these figures in the comments below. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? Personally, I think my favorites are Golden Dragon Zayn, the Crystal King, the new Pythor, the regular version of Cole, and the all-new Sensei Wu. And then in terms of my least favorite, honestly, they're all really nice. I think I'd have to say Skyler just because the lack of leg printing does sort of make her feel not as high quality as the rest. And I'm not the biggest fan of her one face print. But yeah, when that's my biggest complaint of any of the figures this wave, you have to know it's pretty darn good. But those are just my thoughts. I'm curious to hear what yours are in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you want to see full reviews of any of the Summer 2022 Ninjago sets, I'll put a card to the full playlist in the top right corner. I've got reviews of all of them out now, Golden Dragon, Samurai X-Mech, even the 4+ sets. If you're interested in any of that, go check out the playlist. But as for this video, I think that's about going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, please press like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do LEGO and Ninjago videos like this almost every day, so if you subscribe, you'll be the first to see them. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!